Hello everyone, welcome to a special edition of What Does That Piece Do? Special unboxing. I normally don't do these, but I was really excited to finally receive Vijayanagara, Deccan Empires of Medieval India, 1290 to 1398. Super excited about this one. It is game number 1 in the ICS series from GMT Games. And I'm especially excited about this one. It's coin adjacent and actually coin inspired in a few ways. It actually was born out of a ConSim game jam online a few years ago, where the aspiring designers were tasked to design a game over the course of a weekend, and the stipulation was it had to be based on an existing game. I believe it was specifically the coin games. So these guys took Gandhi, took the pieces from that and made this new game, went way back in time, a couple hundred years before Gandhi takes place, into, like it says, the medieval era of India. The designers then are Saverio Spagnoli, Matthew Johnson, Corey Graham, and Amon Matthews. And I've met 3 of those guys online and actually play tested this game quite a bit early on, and actually seeing some of the art as it was released while it was still just being play tested really inspired me. I saw some on Twitter and I'm like, wow, how do I get in on checking this game out? And then I was invited to the Discord server for Coin, where a lot of this is being developed along with other games, including the existing games. You can meet and greet people there and play them more. But really excited about this one. I got in on some early play testing online on Tabletop Simulator, played a bunch of games of this, thought it was great. Tried some of the solo variations too as that was being developed, so really excited to see that come together in this. Like I say, I've talked with a lot of these guys, met everyone but Amon basically. They're really great guys, they're really fun to just talk to, and played other games with them online too. Haven't met anyone in person yet, but hopefully that'll happen in the near future. Pretty excited. Should see my name somewhere on here as a playtester, I think. They sent me this promo copy. Super excited. So thank you, GMT Games and the designers here. I can't wait to take a look at this. So I will say, one thing that really attracted me to the game early on was some of the card art. And it was already so well thought out. Matthew's the designer here, the game art designer, and he put a lot of work and effort into this. And so even in prototype mode, it looks better than most finished games, I'll say. So really beautiful artwork we're going to see on this one. So let's crack into it. All right. So we've got the classic 8.5 by 11 rule book that most of the boxes from GMT Games are based on, essentially. So this is your starting point here. Rules of play, it's not too heavy, as you can see. I should say this is a 3-player game, and it's actually pretty fast playing from what I recall, and it's probably something that could easily be played in an evening, so quite a bit different than some of the coin games out there that can take a long time, but shouldn't be hard to get into. Again, I already know the rules, but here are the rules of play. You've got the rules and reference. So this is pretty cool. This is for the Ibn Battu card-based non-player. So this is for the solo player bots. Any one of the 3 factions in here can be played solo. So that is how you run it there. Anyone that's familiar with Gandhi or Fire and the Lake solo systems would be pretty easy to get into this. People Power as well, using the same sort of card-based and decision chart system. So yeah, you got the rules of play, general rules, rules reference for the non-player. Got a learn to play. Developer Joe Dewhurst put this together. It looks like the learn to play, the introduction, basically the playbook, right? So your first ever time out, you might want to check this out because it can help you get into the game. And then the playbook by Saverio Spagnoli. A lot of historical background in here, faction guides, whatnot, pronunciation guide as well too. So what you'd normally see in a playbook is the get you up and running type of thing, but I think that's in the learn to play here. Playbook though, a little bit more extra historical material. I'd read some of this too when they had early versions of it and published. It was really great background, really great primer for the game. And now these will look so coin players will probably kind of recognize these, but notice they're a lot prettier than what we're used to in the coin series. These are the player aids. So take you through this. This is the main, this is the Delhi Sultanate. So these are basically the coin faction. These are the guys that are trying to keep the peace. They start off in really good victory conditions, but then these two buggers come and try and beat them up. So you got the Bahmani Kingdom and then the Vijayanagara Empire. These are their player aids with their, what we would normally consider operations and special activities. In this game, they're called commands and decrees. So if you get to take a turn, you'll probably get to do a command, maybe multiple spots. Then you might be able to pair it with a decree. Like I say, a lot prettier than the usually black and white ones that we see with the coin series. So they put a lot of beautiful art into this, really color coded so you know what's what here. But every player will get one of these to know what they get to do, what their opponents get to do. Of course, the victory conditions down there and some other interesting things about control and what that means as well. On the back here, looks like you got the Mongol invaders chart. So fun thing about this is always a non-player faction, but Mongol cubes will come into the Delhi Sultanate's area and start to hack away at them, and both the Bahmani and the Vijayanagara get to take turns running this. When a card comes up, that's shows that these guys get to move, and they come along at the end as Timur starts to invade Delhi. So this is handy reference for anyone just to keep track of what they could do at certain points of the game. Looks like we got some other player aids here. Sequence of play to know, well, first how to set up the decks and how they're stacked. It's a little bit different. There's very specific cards that will appear through the event decks. It tells you exactly, how to do things. Oh, there it is. This is cute. This is the Goat and Tiger game. This is the extra little supplemental game, which is more of a traditional, very simplified game of moving pieces around that they included with it too. Pretty fun. This is in the tabletop simulator mod at some point too. Pretty cute. This looks like the flowcharts then for the non-players. So if you got the Bahmani Kingdom or the Delhi Sultanate or Vijayanagara, they could all be run. Like I say, as solo bots. There's some decision charts along here too and some other details. This tells you, it looks like it's another good player aid to let you know what's going to happen at those certain phases of the game, no matter how you're playing. Multiple players or if you're playing solo, you're still going to have these phases that come into play. They're kind of like the propaganda or campaign cards, but they're just very specific cards where very specific things happen on them. So just give you a heads up of what to look forward to at those phases of the game as you approach them. We've got a couple of counters here. There's not a lot of counters, but you'll see more wooden pieces in a minute. But the counter sheets, they basically show the control and whether it's a tributary for the space. And then it'll show you either the Bahmanis on one side, Vijayanagara on the other. So as these come out, they'll go onto the space as if the Delhi Sultanate's not controlling anymore. Got these fun little horsey counters as well. That these are for when you're in battle, dice blocking basically, and then the different various victory condition markers and whatnot on the tracks. And there's one other track here I'll show you in a minute once we get to the beautiful map. Before I get to that, just really quickly looking at the pieces. Good old bag of baggies. Thank you, GMT. Oh, the dice are pretty too. They didn't go with just the standard dice here. You got some nice funky colored ones. Those are pretty cool. You've got all your wooden bits and pieces. These are for, much like any coin game, they're going to be probably cylinders and cubes that basically go onto the map for Bahmani, Vijayanagara. And there's probably pieces in here. Well, there's pieces to show, obviously, where you're doing your actual commands and decrees here, but you could probably use them to play the goat game too if you want, the tiger and goat game. So those are really nice, really lovely. There's the Delhi Sultanate one. There's the Bahmani Kingdom and Vijayanagara Empire themselves. Cool. So lots of wooden bits. It looks like there's just little discs, I believe, to show the forts and castles and Casbahs. Now I know in the tabletop simulator they were doing some fun stuff. They had actually look like little wooden meeple forts, but I don't think they quite had the budget to pull that off. So you do get these discs that are just for their little things that they get to put out on the map when they're building spaces. So pretty cute, pretty slick. Great colors, by the way, too. And of course we have the cards. The card art is really amazing. Let's see if I can crack in these real quick. Let's crack into those. These are the event cards you see here. And then the Mongol invasion cards, I'll come up throughout. Mongol invasions. And then we have, sure enough, we've got some little player cards here to show, okay, these are the actual dynasties that come into play. Oh, there's a great little icon reference chart. We don't see this very often in like GMT games or the coin games necessarily, but pretty handy to have if you're ever questioning what's on there without having to dive into the rule book. Usually not on the player aids either, so that's really handy. And just little reminder cards of what exactly it looks like. Oh no, these are the cards that basically act as, yeah, Lords of the Deccan, Rise of the Rebel Sultans, and Zenith of the Delhi Sultanate. So these basically mean, these are basically what would be normally the propaganda cards that you'd see in the coin series. They'll be dropped in the actual events deck at a certain point. You don't know exactly when, but it's a coming and it'll tell you specifically what things to do. And then finally for the cards we have, oh yeah, and this is near the end of the game. Tamerlane comes into the Delhi Sultanate and tells you what's going to happen here. This is the rise of Timur as he comes into Delhi. So this will be end game scenarios. These last two cards will come up. And finally we have the very recognizable, these are the automatic cards for the non-player bots system so you can run. So you just shuffle these all together and then you go through them until you hit a point where like you can act on one of these cards and it'll actually do the moves for you. Then you just have to follow these charts to go with these cards. Good old insert in there. Thank you again, GMT Games. Keep everything from shuffling around. But let's look at this amazing map. This map has looked really great from, like I say, even in the development phases here. Oh, it's a nice one too. Oh yeah. Oh, it's nice and tight. Actually, it's just a 4-panel. That's cool. I really honestly did not have a sense of how big it was. It is literally just the 4-panel here. So, well, it's actually pretty tight. It's not nearly as big as Gandhi, which is based on, at least the original map was. But there you go. You've got all the spaces. Delhi is the big heat score here, obviously. This is where a lot of action happens for the Sultanate, but then the Mongols will start to invade from there. We got all these other spaces, basically 1 and 2 pop spaces. And then finally, there's this other track down here at the bottom that can go either up for Vijayanagara or up for the Bahmani Kingdom. And as it goes up, the other one will go down. Basically, it's a zero-sum chart, but like as you go up, you might get more pieces on the board, or you might get more powerful special activity as you go here. So it also counts for extra points at the end too. The sequence of play chart, it's pretty neat. It's pretty slick. I mean, it'd be recognizable somewhat. It's a very simplified version compared to what you would see on the coin ones. Basically, you can be eligible. You can either do a command and a decree, which is again like operation and special activity, or if someone takes that first, then the other one has to take the event, or just do commands, or vice versa, right? Whoever gets there first, and then they'll both become ineligible unless the event card says they can stay eligible. You can pass for resources, but also you can always just do any point. If you're eligible, you can go limited command, so that's 1 command in 1 space, then stay eligible for the next turn. So you can act. You're only ever going to see 1 card, by the way. This isn't like coin where you get to look ahead. Well, most of the coin games where you get to look ahead and see what the next card is. If you want to wait your turn, see if you got a better opportunity with the event or your order play, you never know what's coming. So if you really want to hedge your bets, you could do a limited command and stay eligible. Pretty handy. Then you could be maybe the only one eligible for that turn. So yes, very beautiful map, very beautiful pieces. Can't wait to get these all on the board, get this happening, get that deck all set up, really admire the cards. This is the first card of the game, actually. It just shows that that's the dynasty that you're in. And you can't do any uprisings, I think, as these insurgent players, these other kingdoms near the beginning. That comes later in the next phase. Sure. Mongol invasions and who gets to decide what the Mongols do. It alternates between those 2 players, as denoted by the flag here. And then these are all the other beautiful event cards. One more Mongol invasion. Boom. All the beautiful event cards there. Of course, all the Automata cards. And then all the other wonderful pieces. So that's what we got for you right now. Really looking forward to playing this game. I've played it in the past. Can't wait to share it with others that have not yet experienced this. Should be a great riot. So great to see the vibrant colors. Severio, Corey, Mathieu, Amon. I think you did an amazing job here. Can't wait to dive into the material as well too. Read some more of the history. It's going to be great. I hope you get to get this to the table someday too, and enjoy. It's new. Vijayanagara. It's out there. Get your hands on a copy.